take heed. The first recorded motor accident in Great Britain involving the death of a driver took place on Grove Hill, just over there, on the 25th of February 1899. But notice the wording, because the first fatality in a road accident actually occurred 2.5 years earlier in Crystal Palace, South London, when the unfortunate Mrs. Bridget Driscoll was mown down by a car travelling at 4 miles an hour. It was driven by Mr. Arthur Edsall, and 4 miles an hour was his estimate. A witness said at the inquest that it was travelling as fast as a good horse could gallop. And his passenger, Alice Standing, said that Arthur was tinkering with the engine just before the accident to soup it up a bit. So we don't really know how fast it was going. But in February 1899, 31-year-old engineer Edwin Sewell was driving the 6-horsepower Daimler wagonette around here. A wagonette is a bit more like a horse carriage than a car that we would know about. It was 8 seats, an open top, and had large wheels with very narrow rims. And the passenger was Major James Stanley Richer, who was a department head from the Army and Navy stores down in Westminster. And he wanted to buy this car off of Edwin Sewell. So they took it out for a test drive, starting in Whitehall, down in Westminster, and ending up in Harrow. And they went for a lunch down at the King's Head, which is about 100 yards away from here. And adequately refreshed, they thought they'd drive the car down the very steep Grove Hill to test the brakes. Anyway, they were careering down the hill at about 20 miles an hour when Edwin went round a curve, trying the brakes. The brakes were fine, but unfortunately the rear wheel suffered a catastrophic rim failure, collapsing and throwing both Edwin Sewell and the Major from the car. Edwin Sewell died instantaneously, but the Major suffered such severe injuries that he died 3 days later in hospital. Take heed, indeed.